Are you thinking about buying an electromyograph? Hold on a second. Most electromyography devices on the market are a bad investment for clinical practice, and I'm going to explain why. Yes, we're saying it clearly, because even though they promise to measure muscle activity, the reality is that most of them just draw graphs that leave you with more questions than answers. They don't interpret, they don't help you plan treatment, and they're not designed for your day-to-day work as a physical therapist. In contrast, mDurance goes far beyond being just a simple measuring device. It records electromyography and video at the same time, generates reports in seconds, and is specifically designed for musculoskeletal physical therapy, TMJ, neuro, pelvic floor, podiatry, and trainers. Get all the information at the link in the description and find out how it works in practice. In this post, we explain the 3 most common mistakes made by many electromyography devices and how to avoid them so you can choose a tool you can actually use in your sessions from day one. The first mistake, they are marketed as simple measuring devices. Most electromyographs on the market only record electrical signals and convert them into graphs. Yes, they measure, but measuring is not interpreting. These devices show you raw data like microvolt lines or activation peaks without helping you understand the clinical context or know whether what you see is relevant to your patient's injury. How does mDurance solve this? With mDurance, you don't just see a graph, you see the patient's muscle activation and movement at the same time. Interpretation becomes immediate. Has it ever happened to you that you see an electromyography graph, but you don't know the exact moment in the movement when that activation occurred? That's one of the main limitations of many electromyography devices. With mDurance, you'll record both the video of the movement and the muscle activation simultaneously. This way, you can see exactly what happens, for example, in the gluteus medius when the patient does a squat, or how the lumbar muscles respond when doing a glute bridge. This not only saves you time, but also allows you to make much more precise clinical decisions with greater confidence. The second mistake is usually that you have to handle all the interpretation yourself. The second major flaw of many electromyography devices is that once you have the data, everything depends on you. The interpretation, the analysis, writing the report, and communicating with the patient. This not only requires a lot of time, but also a very advanced level of training that many clinical physiotherapists don't necessarily have to master completely. In the case of mDurance, reports are generated automatically, including symmetry graphs, comparisons between data, and between sessions. You have guides with expected synergies, as well as maximum and average activations for each muscle. All of this is ready to print, share, or use as a clinical communication tool with your patient or with part of your team. In less than a minute, you'll have a professional and visual report that will allow you to justify your treatment decisions, explain to the patient what's happening in their body, and communicate effectively with doctors, podiatrists, or trainers. The third mistake is that these devices are usually not designed for clinical practice. Many devices are designed for research, not for clinical use. The result? Complex interfaces, unintuitive processes, and zero post-sale clinical support. At mDurance, we've designed a device by clinicians, for clinicians, focused on what you really need in your practice, quickly placing the electrodes, guided muscle and test selection, and real-time biofeedback with video so you can instantly view everything on your phone or tablet without cables or complications. Everything is optimized so you can perform an actual assessment in less than 10 minutes. But what else do you get from the very first day you join the mDurance family of clients? You receive after-sales support and ongoing clinical training. Once you purchase your device from mDurance, you're not alone. You have access to online training and updates, clinical webinars, answers to your questions via chat or phone call, immediate technical support, and clinical advice provided by physiotherapists for real cases. Because in the end, it's not just about having a good electromyography device, but about knowing how to get the most clinical performance out of it in your daily practice. Therefore, if you want an electromyography device, you need to know that it should record video synchronized with the electromyography, generate automatic and professional reports, and be designed specifically for physiotherapists in a clinical setting. It should have both clinical and technical after-sales support, and it should be applicable to musculoskeletal, pelvic floor, podiatry, training, and more. Are you about to invest in an electromyograph? Before you decide, make sure you're not just buying a machine that draws graphs. Invest in a tool that helps you make better clinical decisions. Remember that in the link in the description, you have access to all the information about mDurance. See you in the next post.